Absolutely. Thank y'all for joining today. Here at Easy, we're very fortunate to have Homeward as a partner to serve as our cash offer solution. So we've been working hand in hand with the Homeward team. I have to say, a lot of your colleagues have been ultra responsive about anything that our partners have needed. So thank you again for taking some time to present and share with our community. We're grateful to have you all as partners. And to everyone joining in, my encouragement to y'all is to, get ready to take some notes, but also be engaged, ask questions. We love bringing in subject matter experts to share, talk about what's working, and in this case, Homeward cash offer solutions, how to really go above and win in those situations. So if y'all have questions for Heather, drop them in the chat. I'll keep an eye on things on mine, Heather, to not disrupt you. I know you've got a presentation to get through. And then, if you want to save some time at the end, we can certainly review any of those questions they have, or if you want to stop intermittently, whatever you prefer. But yeah, with that, I'd love to just, hand it over to you. Let me actually get you promoted so that you can do the sharing. Oh, look, you already got it. You're one step ahead of me.
I've done this before.
I'm sure. Awesome. Well, I'll let you take it from here. And thanks again, Heather. We appreciate you.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for having me. I'm going to take a second, make sure I just can see what I need to see in order to be successful here. One thing I would love is this seems to be a little bit smaller group. So if you have any questions, I will stop and we can just talk about them live. Or right now I am having, it's a little bit harder in Zoom for me to find the chat while I'm talking. So if you send a message in a chat, I may not see it. So what we are going to talk about today is the Homeward offer, but it's a little bit different, packaged in that I want to talk a little bit about how our top agents use this Homeward cash offer in order to win more listings, and the little less nuts and bolts of how all the individual pieces of the program work, but a little bit more on how you can use cash offers, specifically our Homeward offer for sure, to win more listings. And so if you don't know of Homeward, you can go to homeward.com and check it out and see what states we're located in. But it's really good to know we're expanding all the time and moving into more states. And so you might have a seller relocating. So just a little bit about me. I am an agent trainer here at Homeward. One of the things I love about this program is it is a cash offer program to help partner with you in order to be able to offer this to your clients. And it's small enough that we actually have humans that you'll be able to talk to and people that will work alongside you as you're working deals. So part of this is I just want to demystify the working with the cash offers and let you know, anyone can be successful with this, especially with this program. I myself have been a realtor for I think 13 years, but since 2013, 11 years. I'm a principal broker in Oregon and Washington. And most of my career has been as working as a listing agent, and listing agent in a sense of strangers, not necessarily referrals, high volume. Somebody pushed a button, wanted to do a listing, and I had to go out and figure out how to win that listing from their aunt, their uncle, brother, cousin who was a realtor, or their bestie, and try to win these. So I know having a unique value proposition, a way to get to the table, a way to add value above and beyond everyone else and showcase my knowledge is really important while I'm getting to learn about my clients, while I'm getting to learn about what their needs are and being able to tailor a solution to them. So as I've been working with my teams, we also needed a solution that really didn't seem to exist. That bridge loan, the unicorn of a bridge loan for those with equity all locked up into their house, didn't exist. Or if it did, I never had anyone get successfully through that process. And so looking for a solution for our sellers who really needed to cash out, but didn't want to miss all that equity they might make with their agent on the market. And so that is what this program offers and why I jumped over to Homeward to help other agents have success like our teams did with this type of product. So again, today we're just going to talk a little bit about the Homeward offer, what it is. I will say you might hear my dog bark a little bit. We had a big coyote out in our backyard and she just cannot get over it. So I apologize if you hear her. A little bit about the general keys to success. These were just keys that I found that really worked for me as a listing agent. And my only reason for showing it is the rest of the agenda is on 7 steps of how to succeed with a homeward cash offer. And really what I want to show you is it's the same steps. Like to be successful with cash offers and to win more listings with this product are the same steps you're probably implementing every day in your own business already. We are headed into seasonality, into the winter season. Sellers like to say, hey, I need to wait. I'm unsure about what's about to happen. There's an election happening. And we just don't want you to get left behind. We'd love for you to be able to use this in order to get the table or sellers to the table and listen to what you have to say and maybe get this done right now versus waiting until spring. So just a little bit about what the Homeward offer is. So we do have a whole other training, the nuts and bolts. If this is a program you haven't really heard about before, I will have a link at the end where you could join for a more in-depth training on the product. But high level overview, this is a program that was started by realtors and it was created for realtors to use with their clients. And it is an awesome hybrid solution that allows for your sellers to have that peace of mind for a guaranteed offer on their home that unlocks 89% of their value up front. With a cash offer, we can close in as little as 21 days, give them that equity up front, and then you, the agent, get to list this home on the open market, see what the market will bring, and if the house closes at a higher price we've already given them, they get to keep the upside. So it keeps the agent central to the deal, which is really important. I think, sellers are much better off when they have an agent guiding them through the process. You get your full commission, your client gets the guidance, and if they get any upside on the on-market sale, they get to keep them. If they don't get more money than we've already offered them on the on-market sale, they don't lose anything. We don't ask for money back. We don't go after them for anything. We take the hit. So they have no downside risk for going on the market with their agent. So who is this good for? Why would somebody do this? One of the biggest things, especially now, like I said, going into seasonality, they're looking for peace of mind. So this product offers, that certainty that they're going to have their money for if they're relocating or something's going on with them that they need to cash out real quick. It is, unfortunately for divorces or, unfortunate things that have happened. It could also be for exciting things, right? So they've got a new job and they're relocating to a new state. So it gives them that certainty that the home's going to sell. And then you get to put it on the market for that upside while they move on with their life. Unlocks immediate access to 89% of the value. One thing that we find, like I always tell everybody, do not prejudge your clients when you go in because some people just are really accustomed to paying a fee for a service. Like I'm busy, I work from home, I've got small kids, my parents live here, whatever it is, and I'm willing to pay a fee for a service so that I can unload the house and avoid the showings, move out on my own time, and then use that money to go buy a house. And then also really great solution for sellers who have all that equity locked up and need to make a contingent offer. We know as listing agents or buy-side agents, if they're going to have to make a contingent offer, it is not going to go as well for them. Maybe they'll have to pay a higher price. They won't get the terms they want if they're having to be contingent. So just the peace of mind, knowing that they're going to be able to get all that certainty and get the proceeds from the market sale with you as their agent. And my favorite part, you get to keep your commission. You don't get pushed out of the deal like some other cash offer places. You get to stay central. So that's a little bit about it. Again, we have a whole other training if you want to learn more about how the nuts and bolts and how it works and how to sign up and all of that. Definitely could help you with that. But today we're just going to talk about winning and winning the listing. And again, you have a process. You have, if you're a listing agent, I just want to show you don't have to fear this cash offer process. It is not super complicated. It is an amazing solution for your sellers. These were keys to my success as a listing agent. Number one, having a set process in place. Like how do I do my pre-listing phone call? How do I do my CMAs? What do I do before I get to the house, drive around, look at the neighborhood? I had a set process even for how I walk through the house. I'm going to meet them at the door. I like to walk through the house first and get to know their pets and see the pictures on the wall and ask questions and build rapport while I'm walking through the house. Some people like to go straight to the table, sit down, have a chat, and then do their tour. But having a set process and a playbook, I know the questions I'm going to ask in my walkthrough. I know when I'm going to stop by the water heater and ask the age. I know when I'm going to ask about the roof, all that good stuff, right? And that allows me to have that process, that playbook set down so I can get really curious and into the why for my clients. Why do they want to move? What is motivating them? What is going on? So primarily working as a listing agent, I'm trying to pry that house out of their hands, right? With with a price that I know it'll sell. Maybe it's not what they want. My key to being able to help them do that is always to figure out where are they going? Why do they want to do this? What's going on? How can I help them get to where they want? And I feel like if I don't ask all the questions, I'm doing them a disservice. So asking questions, getting to their why, what's important, what about this doesn't work? What about this does work? How can I help you? That's what I think having the set process and what we're going to show you today with the Homeward Cash offer, the set process from our top producers. Obviously, knowing your product inside and out, what are your unique value propositions? What can you do for your seller? What can you do that other agents can't? This is another place where cash offers can really help. And some agents would bring multiple cash offers and just bring all the solutions to the table. But knowing your product inside and out, super helpful. Setting the correct expectations with your client, super important. Anticipating issues. I mean, if you've been through this before, you know what's going to pop up. You know when the inspection period is going to happen and they're going to go crazy about their house and like, no, I'm not fixing that cracked sink. You can't make me. Like the whole deal stands on us getting through this repair process, right? And if you're newer to being a listing agent, ask your more experienced colleagues. They will tell you and give you some experience to pull into your presentation and to your process. And then always asking for feedback and use it. What works, what doesn't, what does your client need? What do they need to be able to move on to the next step, and not being afraid to be asking and be nosy in an appropriate way, right? So this all mirrors what we're going to talk about next, which is just the 7 steps that we have found that works with our top listing agents that sell, up to 8 cash offers a month. It is not going to be any miracle, anything you haven't seen. But again, to demystify what that process would look like for you is my goal here. So just like with any other listing appointment, prepping is key. And again, it goes back to really understanding the why. So I would suggest having this, a cash offer is part of every presentation that you do with a listing, because we do not know what's going on behind the scenes with our clients. So I've had clients where I walk into their home and the home is beautiful and they clearly have money, and you're thinking, why would they need this? Well, one of my clients, they were the first to jump on board because there was an illness. They were going to be going through chemo. They were not going to be able to have showings. They needed to sell the home. And so just kind of understanding, like, this might be for anyone, any appointment you go on, and that they might need help in a way that they might not be ready to share with you. Maybe I had a client in full credit crisis and needed help, but wasn't willing to share that because I was a referral in that case, a friend of a friend. So in this case, when we're prepping for the listing appointment, specific things that we're looking for a cash offer for Homeward, we're looking at market ready homes. This is really more for distressed sellers who are on a time frame, a time crunch, not for distressed homes. And in our other training, we go through a lot more about what type of homes we're looking for. But some keywords, do they need to buy another home? That's our non-contingent buyer, right? Do they need to cash out quickly for any reason? Are they relocating? They don't want the showings. Divorce, unfortunately, foreclosure. These are all keywords that we're looking for. What happens if you don't have a product to pitch is that they will then go to Open Door, OfferPad, whatever's in your area, maybe behind the scenes, and go see what they have to offer. No matter what, even if we weren't in your area, I really encourage agents to take a product to their listing appointments so that they don't have to have their seller go behind them, right? We offer, as part of this program with Homeward, a preliminary offer. So if you go to homeward.com and log in, you can just say, I get started at the top and create a dashboard, and you can create a preliminary offer from Homeward for your client. And that is because the preliminary offer and a lot of this process is built on a CMA that you create and you speak into. As the agent, you're the boots on the ground, you know the property, you know what's going on. And so your CMA becomes really important. So that preliminary offer is beautiful. You can print it out, take it to your appointment, and have your seller look through this at, if they're interested. I'm going to tell you a little bit about how to pitch it, stay high level, keep you as the center of as the agent to them. This is just something you offer, but this is really cool. And through Easy Homes, if it comes through with your seller lead, it comes through to you already. Now you can create as many of these as you want with the CMA that you want to create, but it makes it really home with the partnership that we have here. So that's a lot already. Is there any questions or anything I should address right now in the chat?
Haven't seen anything come through yet, Heather, but I'm keeping
Okay.
a keen eye on it.
Sounds good. All right. So wanted to talk a little bit about pitch. So again, you're going to prep, you're going to be ready, you're going to do your CMA. And so now we get to the listing appointment, and people often say, well, where does this go? How does this sound? Like, what would I do with this? So really, it's all going to sound the same. You're still going to do your entire process that you have. But we are going to work this in for the sellers just so that they know that you have a unique home buying partner that can help with a cash offer should they need it. We want you to win the listing no matter what, whether they take our offer or not. I mean, my biggest hope would be that you would fall in love with the product, you would pitch it at every time. We'll get a percentage of those. We want to keep them from going around you to someone else, but we know it's not for everyone. The cool thing about the cash offer product is that if your client needs it, they really need it. And they will say, oh, tell me more, right? And you've just unlocked something that you didn't quite have before. And that's really key for why you would take a cash offer to a listing appointment. So we like to say, just stay very high level. You have just so they know, as you're going through options after you've done your appointment and you're getting ready to pitch your services, you have an exclusive hybrid solution that allows them to achieve certainty of a guaranteed cash offer and maximize their equity by still listing on the MLS for you. So you have a solution that not everybody has, and like most people don't know about it because it doesn't really exist out there. So we like to say, the CMA, I do think, I'm going to talk about it here, I think maybe in a slide or two, just how important the CMA is, because one of the objections we do get on this is, as we have to overcome with listing agents, is being able to pitch to a seller like, hey, I can sell your house, but I have a price, right? I know the comp's coming at 500,000, they want 650. Right. And so that conversation, I mean, listing agents can win appointments all day, but if they can't win it at a price that it'll sell, they're not winning as much. So this whole process does put some more pressure on your CMA when you're at the listing appointment. But we like you to stay super high level and see if they're interested. You don't even have to pull out that preliminary offer unless they say, oh gosh, tell me more. So I like to tell, like, how might this sound if you were at your appointment? And it would just be something like, the Homeward offered, this one is already up there, a hybrid solution for any sellers that want the certainty of a guaranteed cash offer and to maximize their equity by listing in MLS. The way it works is our partner, Homeward, will buy your house with an all-cash offer at 89% of the market minus a 6.5% fee. So you can unlock the bulk of your equity quickly and move on to your next chapter with certainty. You'll have 1 to 2 weeks after we close to move out. And then I'll work with Homeward to get the house listed and sold on the MLS for its full market value to make sure you don't leave any money on the table. Whatever amount it sells for over the price Homeward paid for it, you get to keep. And it's honestly the best of both worlds. Now, we don't make an offer on every home. If you go through that other training, you'll see that the homes that we do, and I can walk through that in a lot more detail. But basically, we're just saying, hey, if you're at all interested, all I need to do is take some pictures, some photos, and complete my CMA, which I'm already working on, already done, however that fits in your process, and submit it to them on your behalf, and we'll see if they make you an offer. Most clients are going to say, okay, an offer on my house before I get, on the market, great. So we like to keep it high level, just see if we can take the pictures and a video and then get that submitted to Homeward to see if we can make an offer on it. The cool thing about this process, this product is, again, you are the expert, you know the client's home, you know things that are happening. So you get to fill out an application on behalf of your client. You have stayed high level. You're telling them you might be able to bring them an offer. Hopefully you've said, sign with me. Let's go ahead and sign a listing contract and I'll go see what offer I can get for you. It's not a requirement, but it's a great time to ask for that listing appointment or that listing agreement to be signed. We will create, it takes about 48 hours from when you submit that to us to be able to get back to you with an offer for your client's home. It's based on your CMA, some questions that we've asked you to find out about the home. The photos are key. And then we're going to go ahead and give you that approved offer. You get to look at that offer, review the offer, and submit a counter offer if something in this process is not working for your client. If we're really close on the net sale proceeds, but it doesn't quite pay off their first mortgage. Or if the homeward value, again, the CMA, I can't hammer on this enough. Like knowing that CMA and knowing the numbers and helping the client understand, like, this is where the value is. And if it can sell for more on the open market, that's the cool thing about this product is you get to go on market. We get to see what the market's going to offer you, right? So if anything doesn't work, you get to speak back into it before you ever present this to your client and make sure you're on the same page. So with Homeward, you're assigned a rep as you're working through an offer, and they are your partner and they will help you with every step of the process. So it's really a partnership. You're not alone in this whole thing. So you get to counter. I think that's awesome. And one of the reasons why this is the product I wanted to work with. So just a little bit about numbers. I know I've got lots of writing on the slide. We don't have to go through it, but basically it's just one more plug for any listing agent being able to win a listing at the price that you know it's going to sell is creating that better experience for your client. I had a huge team of listing agents and I had agents who could win a listing all day long, but couldn't get it sold because the uncomfortable conversation up front about what it's priced, what do the numbers look like, what does the data say, that can be uncomfortable even for the most experienced listing agent. And so these were just some keys that I have because I think there is a fee for this program, but more often where we lose clients is that market value, not the fee. Because there's, when we have a client that we're going to put on market and we say, fine, I'll go ahead and try $650 for 30 days, but we know it's not going to sell there. So you put it on the market, it doesn't sell, they don't get any showings, they're all mad at you because why aren't you getting me showings? Well, because it's worth 500. That's a fun conversation. So just making sure if you're newer to listings overall, then this would be something to really dive into with your brokerage and getting the training and how to create and present a CMA. I think is one of the biggest keys for winning listings, and being able to really walk a client through what that looks like and why, and then ask their questions. How did this feel? What about this doesn't work for you? Why are you thinking still 650 when I've showed you that there's no houses that have ever sold in your neighborhood in the last 5 years that have sold for that? I always like to ask the client, what number do you have in mind? I know, most of the time they'll tell you. I had one lady tell me, I'm not telling you that. No way, right? So, it doesn't always work. But being able to find out, what are you thinking before we even get into this presentation? So we know if we're doing a big sell or if we're doing we're doing like, okay, we're on the same page. I had success. Everybody has their own process, but I had success with doing 3 CMAs. So the traditional CMA, the appraiser CMA, the like home with like comps, like condition, that's what Homeward's going to use for the evaluation. That is going to be super key for getting the best offer for your client. But I also always did this neighborhood CMA. So go back 12 to 18 months. Anything that's sold that they're going to say while I'm sitting at the table, well, my neighbor 4 doors down got, 625. And so I'm much better. I get 650. I take out all the parameters and all I do is look in a 1 mile radius of what they have driven by and they're going to tell me about. And then I'm going to know about it because I'm going to have it already printed out or however you do it. Some people are much better with computers and turning their computer around and showing them. I was paper. So I'd have it ready for them to say, yeah, let's talk about this house and their extra, pool and their 6 other bedrooms and all that stuff, and kind of talk through how a CMA is created. And then for those that were a little bit sticky, I always like to do that competition CMA. All right, so for 650, let's go ahead and let me show you what we could buy with that. Because I hear you. I know that's what you want to get for your house. And so let me show you that if a buyer had 650, what are they going to be able to buy with that? So being able to walk through that conversation and come to a price is just so key in this program, just as well as it is for any other listing that you're doing. And then the other trick that I always liked is I love to like get around to the side with my seller and put the computer or the paper or whatever on the other side and just make sure they know I'm on their side. I am sitting next to them and the big bad data is sitting across the room. I'm sorry, this is what the data is showing. Let's walk through it together. I totally hear you because truly I am on their side, right? I want them to get the most money they can ever possibly get for their house. I am not just working for my commission, although I need it to keep going. I want to work for their referral. I want a great client experience. I want them to be happy with me. I want them to tell all their friends and family about me. So that is just my plug for success for this program. And I really think that's part of why I was successful as a listing agent as well. I promise the rest of these go a little bit quicker. But if you have any questions, don't hesitate. What the next step that all of our top agents did, and this is one of the greatest parts about this program, is that you have somebody to schedule what we call a hop. Your Homeward rep will work alongside you, and they would be the ones that would help pitch this product. Once you have an offer in hand from Homeward, you have a Homeward rep that's willing to get on the phone and really should get on the phone or on a video meet with your clients and walk them through this. So clients that go through a hop, Homeward offer presentation, are 2.5 times more likely to close than those that do not. And what our agents like about it is it creates a little bit of separation between them and the Homeward offer, right? Because you're going in to win the listing. You want to win whether they pick a cash offer, whether they have, you took 3 cash offers and one is Homeward. And if they don't want any of the cash offers at the end of the day, you still want to be picked as the agent. So being able to book this with one of our reps puts a little bit of separation. And again, kind of puts you on the side with your seller. I'm going to, be with you the whole way, but let's hear what they have to say. And then allows them to know that you're on their side, even if they don't pick this. The other thing that it does is our reps are really used to walking clients through this. They know the objections that are going to pop up. Nobody's going to try to hard sell somebody up this product if it doesn't work for them and they don't want it. None of us want that. None of us want your clients to feel that. But what we do want is, again, to be able to get them out of their own way if they have a preconceived idea, and being able to ask questions just to make sure, like, if this is the only way they're going to be able to sell and you're going to be able to get the listing and you're going to be able to help them move on, we want to make sure all those questions are answered and all of our, questions are asked. So I think it's amazing that we have this product to offer. We will not hard sell them. We will not contact them without you. We are your partner. So we would hop off this call after answering all their questions and let you guys make the decision on what you want to do. We also really want to collaborate with you. So our top producers build a relationship with their Homeward rep. So this happens really, in your first deal that you're doing, you'll get assigned your Homeward rep. They will be your person for that entire deal. And you will have a pre-huddle with them. Like, you probably will ask them questions, especially if it's your first deal. How does this work? What do I do with this? Am I doing this right? And then you'll hop on a call with them ahead of time and just give them ideas. Like, why is this a good fit for your client? Why is this something that might work for them? What are the things you would want your rep to know to be successful, to ask the right questions? And again, not to hard sell, not to be, gross and salesy about it, but just to make sure that we understand which of the reasons we should spend some time on and ask some questions about. So we collaborate, and we also do that when we're on the call. So the best calls are when you and your agent talk about, things back and forth. And a lot of times what the agent can add in is like, yes, this is the market value that's on the offer. This is 89% of the offer you're getting, Janet, what do you think about that? And then the agent can speak into it and say, yes, I've done my CMA. We've come to agreement. This is really a great offer for you, or why it is, right? So being able to go back and forth with your rep, make sure the client gets all the questions answered. And then of course we will hop off and let you decide what you want to do with your client with no pressure. So at the end, we hop off. You just talk through any benefits, find out more if the seller's like stressed out about anything. Is there anything else that we could help them with? I do have a couple of common objections that pop up that we could talk through. And then of course, answer any questions that you guys have. If you have any, so we've already gone through that process where you could speak into before we present to your client. Now we've presented to your client, and then now your client might have some more objections, and you get to speak into this again and say, hey, we're so close, but this is what we need to do to make a deal. And one thing I did forget to mention on that previous slide is we really, like, if you get one of these and you're going to do it, do not send that offer. Don't send the Homeward offer to your client until you're ready to hop on the call with your Homeward rep. This would be kind of like, calling and doing your pre-call with your seller, like, hey, I'm going to come visit you and see your home tomorrow at 2. I'm going to send over my listing agreement at 6%, and I just like you to sign it before I get there, right? You haven't had a chance to explain the value prop, how it works, and walk through it before you're able to talk about whatever commission you're going to be asking for. So best practice for all our top producers, they hold the hop, they wait till right before they get on the call, they send that over to their client via email, so that they can, or maybe they go with them and sit at the appointment and bring it so that they can walk through the offer with them. So just a pro tip with our top producers, how they do that. So I'll answer some of the common objections that pop up, and then if you guys have any at all, we can unmute and you guys can ask or talk about anything you would like. But we sort of talked about it, but what happens if the home doesn't sell in 90 days? Well, if it doesn't sell in 90 days, and the 90 days comes because we have a listing schedule that we put out once you, the agent, put it on the open market. We do have a list price schedule that we list at 100% of the market value we've agreed on, and then we step down over 90 days to make sure we get that listing sold for them. If they don't get it sold in that 90 days, the list price is now under 89%, which they already got. And so that they walk away knowing they got the most the market would have given. In fact, they've got more, right? We take the hit, you, the agent, still stay on and get that home sold and get your commission. But hopefully your client feels really good that they got even a better deal than the market would have offered. One that we hear all the time is, why would I accept a Homeward offer? This other one, Open Door or whatever, is higher. And so we just like to make sure that the client is looking at the bigger picture. Like, yes, maybe this initial offer of 89% is not the same as this offer, but this offer is all you're going to get, right? They are going to take your house. They are going to put it on the market, and they're going to make the upside. With our product, we're going to give you this up front, and then we're going to go on the market and you might get more. So just making sure they're comparing apples to apples. And they were doing some deep dives in numbers with our company the other day. And a really cool stat that came out is, since Homeward's inception, we've saved about $18 million that would have gone into an investor pocket that went right back into the seller's pocket. And we think that's really cool, right? So much more of their hard-earned equity gets to go right back into their, into their pocket. So very cool. And then of course, so we didn't dive into fees and the structure and the net sheet and all of that, which we can do in another training. If anyone hasn't done it or is interested, we can absolutely walk through that. But there's a fee. And so often we hear, 6.5% in addition to my realtor fee, that's just too much. So we get it. 6.5% isn't nothing, but we do hundreds of these a month. So it is definitely worth it to those who need to use this product in order to move forward. So we like to just stop and say, you're right. It's not nothing. Let's talk about your goals. Let's talk about where you're going and how else might you get there. Like, the reason we brought this in is because there is no other option like this. And if you were to stay on market with me, like, we like to ask, what is your mortgage payment? Oh, it's $2,500 a month. Well, if we're on the market for, the next 4 months trying to get it sold, you'll be paying that along with everything else. Here, we're going to close in 21 days and that's off your plate. So that eats into a little bit of that fee, for sure. And then, hopefully we'll sell on market for the price that we thought, but this gives you that certainty and that guarantee that you needed. And if they're wanting to buy another house, most of our clients do make that up on their offer. They're not going to have to offer over asking price to get a contingent offer accepted. They're not going to have to, give up their inspection period and do all that stuff in order to be able to have a contingent offer accepted. So those are the most common objections we heard, but I would love to hear from you if you guys have any other questions. The last step is just getting the contract signed. We make that process really easy as well. We have complete instructions on how to write up this offer, how to start working with Homeward. Your Homeward rep would help you with every step along the way. There is an inspection process as part of this program. So what we do is we make an offer. We use your CMA, we use our values, we come to an agreement on a market value. We write up the offer just like we would in a regular market sale. And then we are going to use a third-party inspector to come out and inspect the home and do a negotiation just like a buyer would do. Looking for health and safety issues, looking for any cosmetic issues maybe we could fix once they move out, and be able to get those done after they're out of the home, carpet, paint, whatever we think might make that house sell for more on the open market. And so there will be that kind of second negotiation, just like in any other deal, but the client gets to say yes or no. They'll have you there to guide them. They think, if they don't want to do it, they don't have to. So this is where the training ends for today. And hopefully you found it helpful, but I would love, if anyone has any questions, if anyone wants to talk about anything cash offers, Max said I could give a plug for a further training. So I do have this Calendly link if you were interested. I set this up just for Easy Home for anyone who wanted further training. So if you have any questions, I don't know if there's any questions in the chat or.
Yeah, we did. One of our partners, Kesley, asked, and Kesley, feel free to unmute yourself if you want to kind of chime in here. Otherwise, I'm happy to read through it. But basically asking what the best practice is at the listing appointment. Should you bring 3 offers, low, medium, and high, to show the one that is closest to value, or wait for the actual offer and then schedule the high? Did I get that, Kesley? Is that on point?
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, that is an excellent question. So we do have a lot of agents who do that exact thing. They create 3, the low, medium, and high. And we have called the paperclip system. So 3 paperclips on top of the one that's the highest, 2 paperclips on the middle and 1 paperclip, so that, because you don't know what the house is going to look like when you get there, right? You don't know if it's going to be oh my gosh, they remodeled this. Hopefully, if you have a pre-listing phone call as part of your process, you might get some of that. But then sometimes they say, oh yeah, it's wonderful. And you walk in, you're like, oh gosh, you don't want to get them too excited. So we do have top agents who will create multiple kind of in those ranges. Other agents will bring them all out, all 3. So the client's interested. They said, yes, I might need a cash offer for whatever reason. The agents want to make sure their client understands that this is a preliminary offer. It's illustrative only. It is based on my CMA. Homeward's not involved. I didn't pre-submit your house somewhere, right? And without your permission. And so they like to bring 3 so that they're not locked into a value. And they can show here's what it would look like if we came in these 3 values. And, sometimes we think of if you did this to your house, these renovations before we get an offer, this might be what it looks like, So yeah, I think that's a best practice. The other best practice is, if you don't get that listing agreement signed while you're walking through the home on that, and you sit down and they say, yes, go ahead and take the photos, go ahead and do all this, see if we can get an offer, but they're not going to sign a listing agreement right now. Sometimes when you leave an appointment and they're like, well, we'll let you know, right? We're interviewing other realtors. We do follow up, but it's a little more awkward. In this case, you have a reason to follow up. Look at this. I got an offer for you. Do you want to chat? Do you want to meet? So what we're hoping to is that that just gives you a reason to get back at the table, talk to them, ask if hey, did you interview anyone else? What else might have happened? What else can I provide for you so that I can win your business? So yes,
Awesome.
great question.
Thank you so much, Heather. We also had like 2 more questions.
Yeah.
In one of the slides, we saw that a situational like reason for this would be foreclosure. Is that like after the house is like already gone through into less pendants, or is that like them knowing that they might be going into foreclosure?
This would be more for them knowing like, hey, I'm headed into foreclosure, I've had my notices, like I am about to get foreclosed on. Could we make this work? So as long as it can pay off their balance, pay off what they owe in their mortgage, this can be a really great quick, because we can close fast, 21 days. Even in some cases, I know they've moved it to 14 for people in that situation. And so being able to close before they go through that process. Good question.
Okay.
One more question on that, Heather. How far in advance of like the auction for foreclosure can we submit a Homeward offer? Does it need to be like a certain amount of time in advance?
So we would have to, I don't know the exact number, but it would, so we need, once you submit the photos through that process, right? Once you submit the photos and your assessment back to Homeward, we are going to get back to you within 48 hours, with an offer for your client. And then once the client accepts that, we have 21 days to close. So as long as that 21 days from accepted offer would be before something on that other side, of the process would preclude them from being able to do that. That's what we would need to know. So I think it would be kind of like partnering with your Homeward rep and telling them like, here's what we know. What else do you need to know? Can we get this done super quick?
Thank you.
Good stuff.
And then our last question was, the sellers that are going into Easy Home Search and requesting the home value, do they come into our follow-up boss with the preliminary offer already attached to the contact? I'm not sure if you know that, Matt.
I believe, actually, I'm not sure. I'm gonna have to check with the team. If the offer is piped directly in. I know we get it tagged appropriately. I don't know if the actual like cash offer amount is included in the history. Let me just jot that down and check, and see if I can't track down an example. Have y'all received any of those opportunities yet? I guess not, to see if that's the case. Okay.
We've gone into like our Homeward account in the back end and done a few preliminary offers.
Awesome. How has that been working so far in some of your listing presentations? Have y'all been leveraging it well?
Yeah, it's been great. They love that we have all the options for them. So it's been
Awesome.
a nice value add for sure.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Love hearing that. Okay, cool. Easy cash offers. Is the offer amount included? I'll email y'all an answer to that question here shortly.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Nick.
Of course, my pleasure.
Anything else I can help
Yeah,
you
what
with?
else do we have? Quiet group today, I feel like we had a lot of good folks in. I think right in the past few minutes a few folks have dropped off to see it, but yeah, I think the other thing I kind of dropped in the chat, Heather, we've really had a great experience with Nick. I think in particular, Jamie and Kessie, I think y'all may have gotten connected with him. But we, so far when partners have needed something, I've been able to get Nick on the line, and his responsiveness is second to none. So
Yes.
if y'all are like working this into your your listing presentations and offers, and want some assistance, don't hesitate to reach out to me, Heather. We can get you connected to the right person on the team there.
Yeah. And then the other thing I would just say for those that are already working, like if you guys are already working some deals, maybe you have gotten close to getting somebody saying yes, or you haven't yet, but you're curious more what that detailed process looks like. So I have that general training that I offered, which is the Homeward overview. And it is just from like when you have a client that raises their hand to the point where we get an approved offer. Also kind of what we just talked about in a little different way. But a lot of questions come up. Okay, we've got an approved offer. Now we're going through inspections. We're going through the closing on the Homeward purchase. We're going through a market sale. We're putting it on the market. We're going through that market sale and close. What does that look like? And what does that interaction look like? And how does that process work? We find that agents do like to know that and feel a lot more confident as they head into their first deal, and also as they're like getting, pitching the product. So that's another training that we offer. However, if anyone needs it, Mac, or if any one of your clients need it, that I can do too. It takes about an hour. It's detailed, and you have to want to have
Yeah,
it.
we've had some questions about like buy boxes,
Yep.
some partners that are evaluating some more like counties with some more rural areas. And I think we generally know, that it's going to be more challenging in those situations. But yeah, if you wouldn't mind dropping that training link that you had on the last slide in the chat, I'll grab it as well and include it in, some of our follow-up to our partners so that they have access to it too. Because I think that would be really helpful to, be clear on what exactly, is in y'all's buy box, how the offer works and the mechanics behind it. I know we did a training with, oh goodness, it's escaping me.
With Rachel. Yeah. So
Yeah, with
that's the
Rachel.
same, like, kind of general overview from the seller raising their hand to the seller, like, getting an approved offer. And then so that's what I'm going to do again on the 10th. If you've already been there, you've seen it. But then
Okay.
for any partner, any person who's like, yes, I have an approved offer, I want to know the rest of it because I want to be confident as I march through this. That's another one that I haven't done for y'all yet. And I'm happy to do it. But that needs to be from agents who really want it. They really like, we are all in to learn how this process works because we're about to sign a deal.
Love
So
it.
yeah.
Awesome. Well, yeah, y'all, if y'all have any other questions too in regards to Homeward or Easy Home Search, I'll drop my email address in the chat as well. Feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to, get connected with Heather, answer whatever questions I can myself. But again, Heather, super grateful for your time and putting this training together for our audience. We'll be getting out the recording to folks too. So if you want to share with team members, please feel free to do so. But Easy Country, we appreciate y'all and we'll see y'all soon. Thanks, y'all.
Thank you.
Have a good one. Bye.